Welcome back to the channel, fellow painters and decorators. Very tricky one, very tricky subject we're talking about today. I'm not saying I've had sleepless nights about it, but I have been up in the night thinking about how to put the content together for this, because I know full well I'm going to upset a few of you. I'm going to upset quite a few people with what I'm going to come out with. You might like it, you might not like it. So what I want to talk about today is about money and what are you earning. I'm not asking you what you're earning. I want to just talk about facts and figures, breaking it down, trying to make it simple to what you are actually coming away with at the end of the year. So let's just have a quick bit of a break. Seconds, we'll have just the intro break, and I'm going to come back and tell you how you can earn more money. So give us a few seconds and we'll crack on. You've had the intro break. Phil Beckwith, the professional painter and decorator, is not just talking to painters and decorators today. I'm talking generally amongst the building trade. So if you're a plasterer, you might be an electrician, you might be a plumber, you might be a builder, you might be just specific in the building trade. How are you going to earn more money? Now, before the break I said I'm going to tell you how to earn more money. You ready? Are you sitting down? Are you sitting comfortably? And I will begin. You're going to earn more money by charging more. Dear me, has it had sleepless nights for me to come out with that? Of course it's not, but the reality is there's some people out there, and I'm not going to point the finger. I'm talking to a handful of people. I'm talking to Dave, I'm talking to Leo, I'm talking to Michelle, I'm talking to Richard and John and Simon, and there's another Phil, not me, who follow the channel, and I'm talking to you, and I'm talking to you specifically. Everybody else can zip onto my next videos, but I'm talking to you because you're the ones that are telling me that you can only earn or charge 120 quid a day. 120 quid a day running a business. And I'm trying to talk to you as sole traders, as an independent person running a business. If you've got multiple staff working for you, you probably don't want to be listening to this video. It's nothing, it's not rocket science, but I just want to try and break down a few things, because I hear this all the time. I'm 120 quid a day painter and decorator, or I'm 120 quid a day bricky, I'm 120 quid a day plasterer. That cannot be enough money for you to be living on, to have a comfortable lifestyle. And I'll stop there and say comfortable lifestyle. I know you're going to get comments below with people saying you cut your cloth accordingly, and you've probably not got a lot of outlay, and you've not got a lot of bills to pay, so you're quite happy with 120 quid a day. Well, let's just have a quick breakdown of that. 120 quid a day. I'm going to break it down as an 8-hour day. 120 quid into 8, that's £15 an hour. £15 an hour. And you're classing yourself as self-employed, as a sole trader. And in that £15 an hour, you've got business running costs. Does it sound enough? I don't think it sounds enough. So I'm going to have another little bit of a break there, and I'm going to come down and break down a few more figures to bring it back down to reality. So give us 5 seconds and let's talk you through it. Back with you. Do you know what? I've even got some notes so I don't forget. Right, let's forget about day rates. Let's forget about charging for jobs and everything. I'm just going to break it down to what you can actually be earning, or what you could be earning or should be earning. Let's try and make it simple. Right, there's 365 days in a year. Right, not everybody wants to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I know my wife doesn't want me working all hours. Getting that work-life balance, it's a tricky one. We've got to put food on the table. And I'm going to start with this, 365 days of a year. Now, I know some people are going to say, I've got to work 6 days a week, 7 days a week to make me money up. And it's probably you that I'm probably talking to, because let's have a proper work-life balance. You don't want to be working all those hours. You've got to have a bit of downtime. You've got to have family time. You might not have family, so if you're young, you might want to work 6-7 days a week. That's great, but you might think you're earning the money, but do you want to be the richest person in the graveyard? No, of course you don't. It's a bit of a joke. Nobody wants to be in a graveyard rich. But no, I've got my figures here. I'm just going to go down it. So down that column, I'll print it out so you'll see it. We've got 365 days a year. Let's take out the weekends. So there's 52 weeks in the year. How many days is that? That's 104. So you're taking 104 days off that 365. I know you're going to get a smart aleck. There's going to be an extra day when there's a leap year, but let's call it 365. So I'm already taking off 104 days that we're not working because we don't want to work weekends. That brings us down to workable days 261. Right, bank holidays, public holidays. There's 8 in the UK and Wales. There's 8 public holidays, like your Good Fridays, bank holidays, Christmas, all that. So you're taking another 8 off. We're now down to 253 workable days. That's fine. That's not bad. We're all right with that. Right, what's the next thing I want to say? You're self-employed. Allow yourself to have some holiday time. Now in the building trade, it's I think it's 4 weeks, so that's 20 days. So let's knock off 20 days of that. So out of that 253, you're knocking off another 20 days. What's that come down to? 233. I just did that. So we've got 233. That's if you have 4 weeks holiday, i.e. 5 days in a week. Now I'm going to put a bit of a contingency into there. I'm going to tell you that let's allow another 2 weeks on top of that, because you might have a week of downtime where the odd day here and there you've taken off holiday, you're sick, you're not very well. You might have a day here, there. You might also have a day that you lose because a customer pulls out on you at last minute and you lose a day. So I'm going to say let's allow another 10 days off that 233. So I'm knocking another 10 days off, another 2 weeks where you're not going to be earning. Now adjust this accordingly. If you've got your pen with you, adjust it accordingly. So I'm now down to 223 days out of the 365 that you could possibly be working and earning. That'll fluctuate. If you want to work 7 days a week, knock yourself out. I don't. My wife doesn't want me working 12-hour days, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, because there's already one person in our household who does that, and that's my wife. Keeping me in the lifestyle I'm getting accustomed to. That's what I'll say. I'm joking. But no, you don't want to be working all the time. So I'm basing this on 223 days of a year. Potentially you can be working to give you 6 weeks of no work, i.e. 30 days, and your weekends are off and your bank holidays are off. So you're sitting comfortably with the work-life balance. Right, out of that, how many hours of that day are we going to be working? Now I know some people will say you don't work and charge for your dinner hour, so I'm going to break those days, that 223 days, into an 8-hour day. So that's all on this side, you can see 8-hour days, and that's in effect what you'll charge for a day. I'm not knocking an hour off for dinner to make it a 7-hour day charging. I'm just going to call it an 8-hour chargeable day. So you're with me so far? Right, go and get yourself a drink and I'll come back and we'll break it down even more. Took my hat off, put it back on again. Right, so we've got 223 days. Times that by 8, that's your 8-hour days. How many hours have we got workable hours of a year? Well, I've had to write it down because I'd forget. It's 1,784 hours in a year potentially to work comfortably. Are you following me? It's all down this side. So I broke it down from 365 days to actually only being able to work 223, and those hours on an 8-hour day. If you want to work a 5-hour day, fair enough. If you want to work a 10-hour day, fair enough. I'm keeping it simple at 8 hours. Right, this is where it gets interesting. Do you know how much your earning a year, what are you coming away with? If you've got an accountant, you'll know, but to try and make it simple, I'm going to break this down into figures. Right, if you're wanting to see £20,000 for the year of earning, now this is gross, this isn't taking any tax off, I'm keeping it as the bare figures, and this isn't business running costs, this is what you're coming away with. If you want to see £20,000, then take your tax off. If you want to see £20,000 a year, I had to stop then, police car. If you want to see £20,000 a year, out of that 1,784, I'm going to do a spreadsheet here, which is a day rate in effect of £89.68. Do you know what that is an hour? That's £11.21 an hour. Is the penny dropping yet? So with 1,784 hours workable over the year, £11.21 an hour will see you £20,000 within a few pence. 20,000. Let's knock it up. You want to see £30,000 a year. Again, I'm saying it's gross, not net, and you'll be dropping your figures down. If you're wanting to see £30,000 a year from your earnings of you working those 1,784 hours, right? 30,000, that is £134.56 a day, right? What's that an hour? Do the maths. We're dividing that by 8. We're down to £16.82. £16.82 an hour. Interesting, isn't it? Let's knock it up a set. You want to see £40,000. You want to see £40,000 earning. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? £40,000 earning. Then take your tax off. 1,784 hours again. Right, 40,000 is just shy of £180 a day. So that's £179.36 a day. On a 5-day week, working 8 hours a day, that brings you £22.42 an hour. So if you're charging out at the minute, if you're running a business at £22 an hour, right, you're running a business at £22 an hour, that's what you're charging out at. Well, it's £22.42. You'll be seeing, what, 40k a year. Well, you haven't taken your business running costs out of that, have you? We're going to come on to that. Right, jump about, going up to 50,000. If you want to see £50,000 a year from your earnings, what do you need to be charging out per hour on that 1,784 hours you can work over the year? Do you know? Have you worked it out? £28.02, which is £224.16 a day. That's what a day rate would be if you haven't got any business running costs and you're just giving yourself a salary to see 50,000 a year. Sounds great, doesn't it? Got your tax to take off it. It's interesting. Are you earning that? I'm not judging. I'm just making you think. Because these figures here, you can see them at the side of me, that is what you will be seeing if you were earning that sort of money. If you're charging out £28 an hour for your labour time, you should be seeing about 50 grand a year. Then take your tax off. And again, these figures are approximate. You might not want to work those hours, you might want to put more hours in. You might want to charge more, put more hours in to earn more. But this is the figures down here that are the eye-opener. So if you're seeing £20,000 a year, if you're coming away with £20,000 a year, you're earning the £11.21. That's based on 1,784 hours, working hours a year. That gives you 6 weeks off, 30 days, taking off your bank holidays, taking off your weekends. And again, I'm going to reiterate, if you want to work weekends, you want to work bank holidays, knock yourself out. I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to be working nights. So there's your figures. Let's talk about your business running costs. Now, I've made some notes on this. These will vary from person to person, but if you look down your bank statement, you'll see what your business running costs are. Now I've made a list here, and we'll go down the side of me. There's other things you might want to add, but this is food for thought, and everybody will be different. Nobody will have the same sort of running costs. Now I've just give a few comparisons of what I think business running costs could be a month. Now on my figures, I'm going to give you the baseline figure a month, what your business running costs are. Right, probably got van insurance. Van insurance, what's that? Depending on your van. I'm going to generalise, 40 quid a month. This is a month, not over a year. I know our van insurance for on our vans about 500 quid a year, so let's call it, we've got nice vans, 500 quid a year, so I'm going to call it £40 a month. Right, you might be paying your gas and electric through your business because you're working from home, you've got your office time at home, and you might say, I'll let my business pay me gas and electric. Right, let's call that 150. That'll go up and down. That's if you're charging this through your business. Right, you've got your phone, your internet, your broadband and all the bits and pieces. You probably put that through your business. £60 a month. Right, you've probably got credit cards with a business credit card. There might be bank charges a month. What's that? I'm going to say it's £10 a month. So over the year, your charges might be 120 quid a year. That'll be different for everybody. You might not have that, you might have that. So let's call that £10 a month. Right, do you have a storage unit? Do you have premises? Now, this, I wasn't sure how much this sort of thing is, but I've said £400 a month might get you a storage unit, a lock-up, something. If I'm right, wrong, tell me underneath. But again, these are the figures you want to be writing down and adding up over a month to see how much your business running costs are. Right, so I've got a £400 a month. Right, my next thing, you might have a PCP or a bank loan to pay for a van. Now if you've got an old shed of a van, that's up to you, that's 400 quid and you're keeping your costs down, that's great. But starters you mean to go on. If you've got a nice van, sets a good example for when you're on a job. It's always nice, customers like to see a nice van outside. Well, a nice van might be costing you £300 a month. Might be costing you £200, might be costing you more. But I've put on these figures, I've allowed £400 a month for that. Sorry, £300 a month, not 400. That's my rent storage. Right, my next thing, do you have an overdraft? How much is your overdraft fee for the year? Let's call it £15 a month. Again, people's figures will be different. 15, put that down. Right, you also might have a life policy, just in case. You might have a life policy for employment, things like that. I don't know how much everybody will be paying. That's different to your age and circumstances, but I've allowed £25 a month for that. £25 a month. Right, another one, business insurance, public liability insurance, things like that. I don't know how much you might be paying. I'm going to say this one, £25 a month. Again, if my figures are wrong, give some comments, but this is just a generalisation of what sort of things you could be paying out a month through your business that you want to be funding through what you're earning. So we've got £25 a month there. Throat's gone dry. Need a drink. No sponsorship from Pepsi, no sponsorship from Porsche, but I do need a drink. I'm talking a lot, it's going to be a bit of a long one, but interesting. I don't drink, teetotal. If you want to know why I'm teetotal, ask me below and I'll tell you. Goes back a long way, but never drank a pint. Seriously, never drank a pint. Never drank a pint. A beer I'm on about. Pint of Coke I have. Right. So anyway, life policies, employment, we said £25 a month. So all on this chart here. Right, business insurance, we went 50. Right. Do you advertise? Do you have any trade affiliations that you pay a membership to? Now, these can be varied, can't they? But I'm going to just put it out there that, let's say £30 a month covers you for a bit of advertising and maybe trade body associations. Might be more than that, so adjust that accordingly. Right, my next one, pension. You want your business to be helping you towards your pension. Now, I could talk about pensions till the cows come home. The more you put in, the better you're going to be. Now, I was told years ago a decent pension would be 750 quid a month. The reality is, unless you're earning big money, you're not going to be putting that in. I wasn't earning that big money then. I wasn't prepared to put money into pensions, big money like that. I went into property. That's another thing altogether. Property and renting. We could talk about that. If we want a conversation about renting and being a landlord, give us some comments. I can do another video on that. Not pointing nastily, but I could do another video. But I'm going to say, you want to be bringing enough money in a month to be funding your pension, don't you? Right, I'm going to call it £400 a month you want to put into a pension. Whether that gives you a good pension or not, I could talk about this on another subject. So let's call 400. Right, accountancy fees. If you got a good accountant, you get what you pay for. He'll be able to help you with all these figures that I've said here for offsetting, because there'll be certain things that we've put down here that your business will be able to offset and get a bit of tax back. So you won't actually be paying a lot of this out if you've got a good accountant who can say you can save money here, there and everywhere. But on these figures that I've given down here, and they're still there, aren't they? Is there enough room to see it? How much is that a month? On those figures that I've given as guesstimates. So I tell you, £1,650. So you've got business running costs of £1,650 before you've even stepped on a job to earn any money. So if we times that £1,650 by 12 to give us a year figure, it's just shy of 20 grand. It's £19,800. Now, I've said the pension figures are in there. That you might offset because there is tax relief on that. But I'm just giving you these figures where it all adds up to. So you need to, let's call it 19,800. Split that over the hours that you can work over the year, which is your 1,784. What does that come down to an hour? To compensate for that, I'll tell you what, it's £11.10. So before you've even put your labour cost on, you need an £11.10 to get you these figures that I've got down here. So let's jump back to, you want to see 20 grand a year gross. That's £21.20. Oh sorry, it's £11.21. Getting carried away with the drink. £11.21 will give you 20 grand a year. But 20 grand a year is only giving you a wage. You understand me? You need nearly another 20 grand to cover your business running costs. So do you see where I'm coming from? It's the penny dropping. So you need to double all that. So to cover that 20 grand, 19,800 business running costs, you need to add another £11 onto that. So your £11.21 for earning, £11.21 for earning, you need to add another £11.10 on. So what's that? £22.31, isn't it? I'll come back in a minute and we'll discuss a bit more. Food for thought. So does that give you a bit of food for thought? You got business running costs off the figures that I've given you. You're needing £19,800 broke down over that 1,784 hours that you can work is £11.10. So whatever you're earning an hour, you need to add £11.10. And you're going to say, I don't work on hourly rate. I know you don't work on hourly rates. Some people are going to work on day rates, but it doesn't matter whether you work on day rates or hourly rates. You need to know what you've probably coming away with per hour, even if you're working day rate. And is your day rate enough to cover you for what you're needing? So I'm going to say to you, do you want to see 20 grand a year? Do you want to see 30, 40 or 50 grand a year earning? Now, as I've said earlier, this isn't one sock and shoe fits everybody's feet. Far from it, it's not. Now, depending on what your household bills are and your running costs will also determine what you're looking to earn a year. If your household bills and mortgage and everything are equating to £23,000 a year with your food bills and you wanting to go on holiday, you need to be earning more than £23,000 a year. But what I'm trying to get to is, please don't think that your earnings on your £120 a day should be covering your business running costs as well. You shouldn't be, because as I've just pointed out down here, your business running costs are nearly as much as what some people are trying to get an hour. You're £11 odd, £11.10 over those hours. And I'm going to put it into perspective now. If you're running a business, and this is where I might upset a few people, if you're running a business, and a few of you have said to me, and I read it on the forums, you're struggling to see more than £120 a day, you've got to do something. Now you've either got to move away from those people who haven't got the money to spend on paying a bit more, or you charge a bit more and look for the better customers. Now I know there's going to be some people out there that do a cracking job, really good at the trade, whether it be plumber, tiler, plasterer, decorator. I'm a decorator. And you're undercharging. Now the only person you're hurting is yourself, because you could be earning more, and also people that are good at the job, that are charging more, are coming up against people who are undercutting. What do you think? Give us some comments. I'm going to come back. I'm going to give you some more food for thought. I don't know whether anybody knows Paul Tinker. You've seen him, Facebook, internet. He touches on some of these about where people are being questioned about what they're charging for a job. I only did one on one of the reels on Facebook pages. It was about £1,000 fitting a kitchen, and a customer saying to him, how long is it going to take? And he goes, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. And the customer's then questioning, well, if you do it in 3 days, is it less? No, it doesn't work like that. And I'm a big advocate and person to say you're charging for the job you're doing, not the time taken. I know that doesn't always work in every instance, but you're charging somebody, always give a quote, give a price for the job that you're doing. And as Paul Tinker says, if I took longer fitting that kitchen, it's still £1,000. If I do it in 3 days fitting a kitchen, that saved the customer time and it's done. You've paid for the job to be done, fitting the kitchen. Or in my position, decorator, I painted a room out. Whether I do it in 2 days or 6 days or 22 days or 60 days, if it's £1,000 for the job, it's £1,000 for the job. And it is. Sometimes you get what you pay for. If people are cheap, it's because we say unreliable, not very good at the job, don't always turn up when they say. That's another story. But no, Paul Tinker, I'll give a bit of a link to him down there. If you want to follow him on Facebook and things, give him a bit of a plug there. He's a great bloke for what he comes out with. Hopefully he watches this and goes, thanks Phil. We'll see. Right, the reality. This is my last section. Right, so you're looking at wanting to earn 20 grand a year or 30 grand a year, and the figures are all there. You're self-employed. I'm going to upset some people again. Now, there's a lot of people go self-employed because they couldn't work for a firm. Now, what I mean by that is, I'm in a very lucky position. I've done an apprenticeship, I've been to college, got me indentures, got me advanced craft City and Guilds. Now, when you go for a job, particularly with firms or companies, public sector jobs, they'll have a pay scale. Now that pay scale will determine on what qualifications you've got. Now your qualifications gets you more money. Advanced craft, MVQ level 3, gets you more money than somebody who's got MVQ level 2 or intermediate City and Guilds, which is your craft certificate, or even no qualifications, i.e. you're working as a labourer. Now you're probably shouting at the screen at me now saying, oh no, it's how, if you can do the job, that's fine. If you can do the job, that's brilliant. But unfortunately, if you've got no paperwork and qualifications, official qualifications to back it up, you're on a bit of a back foot. And this is where I'm going to upset people. Some people are going to be upset because I'll say, are you in business, self-employed, because you've got no qualifications, and it's probably easier for you to be working as a sole trader to earn your money. That's fair enough. I'm not judging. I'm not one that judges. But I'm going to give you an example of this. Recently I spoke to a plasterer, brilliant at his job, and this is where I've come on to people who can be really good at the job with no qualifications. But he went self-employed. He struggled to get work to the point that over lockdown and COVID, which is from 2020, he had no work coming in. Now he knew somebody that could take him on to help him, and he went and worked for them because they'd got work. So he worked as a subby on his wage accordingly to what he was doing. Now he got word that there was a company that was taking on permanent positions to be a plasterer, and he applied. And he went and told them what he could do. But do you know what? The stumbling block was he'd got no qualifications, and they said to him, if you got the qualifications, we can give you the money that you're asking for, because that is our pay rate for what you're requiring. And he goes, well, I'll do a few days with you and you can see how I can work. He says, that doesn't work like that, because we've got people who have got the qualifications that work as good as you, and we pay them the top rate. It upset him a bit because he could do the work but he hadn't got the qualifications, so he couldn't earn the money for a firm that would give him all the benefits of PAYE and earning the money, because he was unqualified. Now this is why a lot of people probably go self-employed, because they're not being relied on for the qualifications. Now there is the, I've wrote it down, right, it's the Building and Alliance Trade Industrial Council that every year, and we're now into June, work out the PAYE rates, what is a general guidance for what the building trade should be earning. Now, as I'm sitting here now in 2022, it's been spoke about, there's a 5% increase. Now you're going to say, what does that mean? Well, the reality check of this is, if you're in a building trade with level 3, MVQ level 3 at the top, that's just over £14 an hour. £14 an hour. Doesn't sound a lot, does it? But it does when you start saying you've got no business running costs. Because you people who are charging 120 quid a day on an 8-hour day, what's that? It's £15 an hour. But you're trying to run a business on £15 an hour. I can say you can be in the building trade with your qualifications at £14 an hour. I've no stress of running a business, because that's the other thing. You're running a business, there's a lot of time that you actually out there going to quote office work that you can't really charge for unless you put it into your hourly rate and allow for it. So this is where the question mark comes in. Are you working for yourself as a sole trader, but would actually be better working for somebody? But unfortunately, if you haven't got the qualifications to get the higher rate of pay, you'll be on a lower rate of pay and probably not doing as well as what you could be. Food for thought. And then, to put that into perspective, our local council authority for a plasterer, within a few £100, permanent position on a 39-hour week, with the benefits of working for a local authority stroke council, your well-being, time off, you're flexible, this, that and the other, your pension contributions. Do you know how much this council's paying, my local council? Between £31,000 and £33,000 a year for a multi-skilled plasterer. Interesting. Benefits of a van, benefits of all the bits and pieces and perks that come with working for a council as a PAYE. Now, if you're a plasterer and you're not seeing that, and you've got your qualifications, maybe it's time you might think to yourself, I'll go and work for somebody else. And I do appreciate that being self-employed gives you that flexibility of working half a day, working a full day, working more. I know all that. There's no need to be commenting and shouting at the screen now. So that's where I'm coming from. What are you charging an hour? Because those figures that I gave you there, if you're wanting to see 20 grand a year, 30 grand a year, 40 grand a year, 50 grand a year, just on your hourly charge out rate, what was it? 50 grand a year? I have to look. You want to be charging, let's round it up, 225 quid a day. That's for your labour. But don't forget, if you've got running costs of 20 grand a year for your business, there was another £11, 10 going on to that. So that £28 labour, add another 11 quid. That's what, 39, 40 quid an hour. So in effect, for you to run your business, see a nice 50 grand a year taxable, you're looking at £40 an hour. If you're not doing £40 an hour and you're wanting to see 20 grand a year wage, and we'll call it a wage, don't forget you got your tax, you're down to your £11, what was it, £11.21, that's where you are. Your last bit for food for thought, national living wage. Do you know what the national living wage is at the moment? For somebody over 23, it's been changed, it's gone from 25 down to 23. If you're over the age of 23, don't want to upset you, You guessed it yet? £9.50 an hour. National living wage. So if you did that £9.50 an hour over your 1,784 hours that you'd be working, because that's what we work from, that 365 days, that gives you just shy of 17,000 a year. Are you seeing 17,000 a year from your wages? You probably are, or you're probably not. But if you're not, you could go work at Tesco. You could go and work at McDonald's. You could go and work for somebody on minimum wage. It's national living wage. If you're over 23, national living wage, you could see just under 17,000 a year. Have I given you food for thought? The people I mentioned at the beginning, are you thinking about it? I know we've got a long video, but it's been an interesting one. Just think about what you're charging an hour, what your business running costs are, and are you allowing enough money for you to run your house and also run your business and come away that you've got profit, because this is where you're going to be making your profit. Because I've not even touched on about your costs of running a business and buying ladders, buying tools, buying your markers, buying your spray equipment, buying things like that, because hopefully you should be seeing enough profit to help fund that. You don't want to be taking that sort of money to buy those things at the actual wage that you're taking, should you? Your business should be paying for that. And again, this is Phil Beck with the Professional Painter and Decorator, trying to make it easy for you to understand on what you could be charging or should be charging. And maybe you're not charging enough, and now might be the time to think, blinking heck, Phil, somebody who's PAYE is on over 14 quid an hour with no hassle, no headache, no stress of running a business. It's not for everybody running a business. So it's for some people thrive on some of that. But I've just hopefully gave you some examples of working out how many hours over the year are workable, giving you that cushion of holidays, and that can alter, and as I said, alter the figures accordingly. But make it fit for you. Get that hand in glove fitting right. It's not for everybody. So on that note, if I've upset you, sorry. If you like what I've said and agree, comment, smash the like, the usual. But it's food for thought. See you on the next one. Over and out.